Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. CARICOM to convene emergency session on Guyana-Venezuela border dispute. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Friday, 8th December 2023, brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. Details when we return.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. CARICOM is currently in the process of convening an emergency session of heads of government on the escalation of Venezuela-Guyana situation. More from this TTT News item.
In a statement, Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs, Dr. Amory Brown, said he received updates and exchanged information with Guyana and with Venezuela in the aftermath of the December 3rd referendum. He said he remains in constant contact with the Foreign Minister of Guyana, with TNT's team in Caracas, with Venezuela's ambassador to Port of Spain, with all CARICOM counterparts, and with key external partners. Dr. Brown reiterated that CARICOM speaks with one voice on this border issue. That voice, as always, fully includes Trinidad and Tobago. He said CARICOM continues to clearly call for respect for international law and the jurisdiction of the International Court of Justice, for peace to be maintained and preserved, and for full respect for the territorial integrity of Guyana and all member states. Dr. Brown said the emergency session, to be held via video conference, will take place by this Friday, and additional pronouncements would be made at such time.
In the meantime, the Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs of Guyana, Anil Nanlal, has suggested that Guyana might appeal to the United Nations Security Council for significant measures, including sanctions or military action against Venezuela, if it disregards the recent unanimous ruling from the International Court of Justice. HGP's Shemar Allen's report provides more details.
Should Venezuela defy the International Court of Justice ruling and annex Essequibo, Guyana would ask the United Nations Security Council to impose wide-ranging sanctions or military action. This was revealed by Attorney General Anil Nanlal Senior Counsel during a symposium on Venezuela's referendum at the Arthur Chung Conference Center on Monday. Reports from that Spanish-speaking nation suggest they would proceed with the annexation. Still, Guyana's AG noted that there are several measures that can be taken to ensure compliance with the ICJ's ruling.
The UN Security Council has the authority to enforce ICJ decisions, and it can take a range of measures to ensure compliance, including economic sanctions, travel restrictions, and the use of military force.
The AG also referenced several cases where the Security Council imposed economic sanctions on several states. He posited that since the 1900s, compliance with ICJ rulings has been above par.
Let us see whether Venezuela wants to change this.
Venezuela's National Electoral Council, CNE, following Sunday's referendum, said more than 10 million eligible voters cast their ballot in favor of the 5 questions, including annexing the oil-rich Essequibo. However, Venezuela's opposition leader, hours later, countered that claim, stating that 89% of the voting population abstained from voting in the referendum.
There are pictures right across Venezuela of the polling stations, and they were empty.
Reporting for HGP Nightly News, Shamar Allen.
In another item out of Guyana, that country has received commendations for its progress in enhancing the management of its oil wealth and fiscal transparency. The accolades were part of the International Monetary Fund's IMF 2023 consultation report. In this HGP Nightly News report with Darcia Richards, You will be offered more details on contents of the IMF report and its implications for Guyana's economic policies and practices.
With Guyana's oil production rapidly growing, a third fuel oil pariah coming online soon, coupled with growth in the non-oil sector, a fast-paced public investment program focused on providing transportation, housing, flood management infrastructure, and raising human capital, Guyana seems poised for much success. The NRF Act, amended in 2021, enhanced transparency and accountability of the use of oil revenues. The IMF highlighted that governance of the NRF was strengthened in 2022 with the appointment of 3 critical bodies: NRF Board of Directors, the Public Accountability and Oversight Committee, and the Investment Committee. The year 2022 was also the first year that oil revenues were transferred from the NRF to the national budget. The report also pointed out that notifications of all receipts were published and progress was made in the implementation of the recommendations of the 2019 Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, EITI. The IMF pointed out that the Petroleum Act was modernized and approved by Parliament in August 2023, improving the regulation of exploration and production of oil, and further paves the way for development in the oil and gas industry. Further, a new production sharing agreement, PSA, has been designed, which will increase government's share of oil profits. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, is an international organization that promotes global economic growth and financial stability, encourages international trade, and reduces poverty. For AGP Nightly News, I am Daisy Richards.
Plea negotiations are likely to enter the criminal justice system in St. Kitts and Nevis as part of key reforms designed to improve efficiency and effectiveness in the legal administrative system. Andre Huey of SKN Newsline reports.
Attorney General and Minister of Justice and Legal Affairs, Garth Wilkin, said that plea negotiations will allow defendants to plead guilty to an offense in exchange for a lower charge or sentence.
The DPP, who is the decision maker in the process, the sole decision maker constitutionally in the process, can say, well, this offense, this is really justice is served if this person serves 5 years. He doesn't make that decision on his own. He also then talks to the victim, because the victim is an integral part in the process. Ultimately, it's the DPP's decision. But you can go to the victim and say, listen, we think we have sufficient evidence against this person. We believe that the justice's situation warrants a 5-year. However, if this matter goes to trial, the range that the judge might give is 5 to 15 years. However, you can get swift resolution of this matter by way of a plea negotiation and offer the person 5 years.
Additionally, plea agreements can be used to offer a co-accused a lesser charge in exchange for giving evidence to the state.
You can also offer a co-accused a lesser sentence to then give evidence against the other co-accused. For example, the driver in a drive-by. You can say, listen, you're a co-conspirator. Are you willing to give evidence that will help you to prosecute the actual perpetrator of the shooting? And that will help to speed up the process, because then if you take that co-conspirator out of the process, it frees up the time to then go after the other conspirator. So we're looking at all of those different ways to kind of streamline the criminal justice system. And my goal is by July next year, we have comprehensive reform. We put it into place and we see how it works.
The Attorney General was speaking on the program In Focus recently. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick,
in association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Bahamas' Prime Minister Philip Davis speaks on high record tourism arrivals, branding it a catalyst for high economic growth and a clarion call for diversification within the local economy. ZNS News has more.
He noted that investing in Bahamian businesses is central to the government's strategy to deepen the linkages between tourism and other sectors. By empowering local entrepreneurs with the resources and support needed to tap into the tourism market, Prime Minister Davis affirms this will stimulate economic activity and showcase the Bahamian people's rich cultural heritage and creativity to the world. The Prime Minister also expressed heartfelt thanks to Tourism Minister, the Honourable Chester Cooper, and his team and airline stakeholders for achieving this milestone. Today's announcement of 8 million visitors to our shores is also supported by the Central Bank's monthly Economic and Financial Development Report for October, which shows that tourism sustained its robust growth momentum with healthy gains in both the high-value air component and sea traffic. The aggressive marketing efforts of the Bahamas have reinforced continued elevated demand for travel in the aftermath of the pandemic.
In the meantime, the Member of Parliament-elect for West Grand Bahama and Bimini, Kingsley Smith, was sworn in on Wednesday after winning the by-election held on November 22nd.
Smith captured 57% of the electoral votes during the by-election, while F&M candidate Bishop Ricardo Grant received 33.89%, followed by Coalition of Independence leader Lincoln Bain with 8.1%, and independents Daquan Sween and Tenille Burrows collectively capturing less than 1%. Smith says he is humbled to represent the West Grand Bahama and Bimini constituency and looks forward to getting to work on behalf of the people.
Forward to represent West Grand Bahama and Bimini. It is a special moment. Not everybody have an opportunity to do so, so I'm excited to have this opportunity to represent the place that I call home. And many of my family and friends and people of the community. And so again, I'm very excited that I have such an opportunity to do so.
Now, the West Grand Bahama and Bimini by-election was held on November 22nd due to the untimely death of the late Minister of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting and Member of Parliament for the area, the Honourable Obi Wilshcombe, on September 25th.
And now for a regional roundup with Carice Gonzalez of HGP Nightly News out of Guyana.
A Wisconsin pastor accused of sexually exploiting children from Venezuela and Cuba was sentenced to 15 years in federal prison. Corey Hartel, 40, pled guilty in August to one count of attempted sexual exploitation of a child. The church where Hartel served, Seventh-day Adventist Church in Green Bay, contacted the FBI in May to report that it had received information that Hartel was trading sexually explicit videos with a 15-year-old in Venezuela, according to court documents. Hartel acknowledged he met the child begging on the streets in Ecuador and kept in touch with him after he and his mother returned to his native Venezuela and exchanged sexually explicit videos with each other, according to prosecutors and court documents. Investigators also learned that Hartel was allegedly exchanging sexual explicit videos with 2 children in Cuba. He was in a sexual relationship with one of the children and was sending money to the other, according to prosecutors. Hartel's attorney, listed in online court records as Eric Makalek, didn't immediately respond to the email from the Associated Press seeking comment. The government of Grenada, in its latest update on progressing the cannabis industry, says it is moving ahead with plans to legalize and decriminalize cannabis to support the exploitation of the plant for medical purposes. Minister of Finance Dennis Cranwell made the announcements as he presented the national budget. The minister says new legislation to advance this agenda is expected to come on stream during the first quarter of 2024. Cranwell says the government remains committed to diversifying Grenada's economic base and in finding new modes of economic growth and transformation. In September 2022, the government of Grenada announced that it had established a commission on cannabis legislation and regulation. I am Carice Gonzalez.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean.
In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. protection from all perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.